Welcome back to Culture Bite. I'm Kevin, and today I'm actually gonna give you a review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny that actually released today. So let's get into it, and don't be afraid because I have spoilers ahead, so you are now warned. This is gonna be a spoiler-filled review. So let me just get into it now. So basically, Indiana Jones, I felt like was a good movie. I enjoyed the movie because I actually enjoy Indiana Jones movies. I've seen them all. I actually even like Kingdom, the Crystal Skull movie up to a point. I do feel like this recent Indiana Jones movie was a little bit better than that one. But one of the things that I actually had a problem with is right off the bat, they basically CGI'd Harrison Ford's face to make him younger, make him a younger Indiana Jones, and you could just tell it just didn't look right. I'm sorry, but like there were like few moments that like, yeah, it kind of worked just because of the lighting and the way that they had the light, shine off his face or shine on his face and everything. But there were some segments, not segments, but scenes that like I just felt like it wasn't all there. It just felt, you could tell it kind of somewhat hit, like you can just be like, that just looks fake and everything. And like I don't understand why they're doing this not more and more nowadays, where they're putting other people's faces like in the Flash onto other people. And then another thing I've noticed is that when he was talking in his younger form, you could tell it sounds like old Harrison Ford. And I'm not trying to like, say anything bad about Harrison Ford, but you can tell like, your voice changes as you get older. And from let's say, for example, like, the beginning sequence took place after the events of the Lost Ark, right? You could tell his voice from there to now here, it's more gravel, it's more just like older, more like, and they used his voice right there. And I'm just thinking to myself, you guys couldn't use any like samples or anything to like bring his voice back to like his younger self. So yeah, like maybe like the first, I would say 30 minutes of the film was basically CGI Harrison Ford, and then boom, we get brought in. And there are some little things that if you like actually pay attention, you kind of find out that Harrison's son, Mutt, played by Shia LaBeouf in the last movie, actually, like in that movie, he said that he was going to join the military because of his dad, but now he found he found out that Indiana Jones was his dad, and it actually shows that he actually did go into the military, but sadly he actually lost his life. And because of him losing his life, Mary, Indy's wife, she basically wanted a divorce. It's like she couldn't deal with the grieving. Like something Indy says is that like she was grieving so much and he didn't know how to basically handle her grief and be there for her, which led to them getting a divorce. And you can just tell that in a sense, the movie basically takes place in the modern era where space is now becoming more of a thing. It's Moon Day, which I believe is the day that like at least in the movie, that the astronauts came back from the moon and like are doing a parade and everything. So you can tell that a lot of the world is now shifting their focus from like old history and more moving towards now the space era, more towards the future of everything. You can tell Indy felt like a man out of time, out of place. He's still a professor at, I believe, Hunter College. I'm not sure if it takes place in New York, but I think it does. But I believe he's a professor at Hunter College, and he finally got his tenure, so he's not at Oxford anymore. And like he still teaches, he's still a professor. He tries to do his best with that, but you can just tell that students are interested in, and in a sense you can just tell that like he just feels lost a little bit. Like I said, the world is moving from the past now more towards the future, towards the space era and everything. It's all became a race. And this is when we also find out that Indiana has a goddaughter that is Bass or Brosnan. I'm not sure if this is actually a character that showed up in a earlier film, because I feel like it did, but I feel like he did, but they obviously recasted him, I believe. but he comes back. Well, not he's dead, but his daughter comes back, and it's Indy's goddaughter, and she's actually looking for the dial, right? And basically she's trying to find the dial because it's Archimedes' dial, and it could lead to basically like ripples that we find out in like space that you can go through, you can fly through, and it can in a sense bring you back in time, which I thought the concept of time travel is insane that they brought that into Indiana Jones film. That's why I thought like, whoa, because like Indiana Jones has always been out there, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, the second one, and then the third one, The Last Crusade with the Holy Grail. And I just you know, and then the fourth one was about aliens, and now we have time travel. So I always thought that Indiana Jones was in a sense out there, but also grounded in a way. This definitely threw it more like, but Indiana Jones even says to himself, he's like, I don't believe in magic, but I've seen a lot of things that basically can't really be explained. And he's like, it's all about how much you believe. And I like, you know, I love the fact that they also brought back the guy from the first movie, from the Raiders of the Lost Ark. They brought him back, the guy that played Gimli, and I was Revis Dreyfus, I believe. They brought him back, and it was so exciting. Like, honestly, it was nice just seeing like the two old men like running around trying to figure out what to do. And like, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Harrison Ford or anything, but you can tell like, and one thing he actually said in an interview is that, you know, one thing you see in these movies is that he ages. He gets older, and in this movie it's a little bit more prominent. I feel like that he's a lot more older. He's not his quick stern self. There was a scene in the movie that he tried to punch someone and fight, but they stopped him real quick, and he just gets locked in. And because, you know, obviously his older age, and I agree, like I like that, you know, if we start all the way back to Raiders of the Lost Ark, you can see he's all like spicy and ready to fight, this and that, especially in the Crystal Skull. Like, he's not as spicy as he was, but he's a little bit more than he was in this recent film. So I do think that his goddaughter took more of the forward step to take over and just help him out, I guess, a little bit more in fights and everything. And honestly, I thought it was a pretty good film. I like the fact that they kind of brought back the Nazis, because I feel like Nazis and Indiana Jones are always like things that are always like just tight and always like together. And in the last movie, they didn't have Nazis; they had the Russians, but now they bring them back. And basically, we find out that Lars, I don't know his first name, Mad Lars or something like that, the villain of this movie, basically is trying to find the dial, like that he can go back in time and kill Hitler, like that the war can continue being won or something, because earlier he was just like, oh, you didn't win the war, Hitler just lost, that's it. So that's the whole entire reason why he wants to find this dial, is because he wants to go back in time, kill Hitler, and continue, I guess, the Nazi regime in some type of way. But obviously that doesn't work out, and we find out that he goes back in time to, like, they actually do achieve going back in time, but it's actually to Italy, I think Sicily, Italy, back to Archimedes when the Romans were taking over wherever he was. I wasn't Casablanca, wherever he was, and basically like was pillaging the whole entire town. But we you know, the airplanes start flying in, and it just starts like just diverging everyone's attention, and we find out the whole entire reason that, you know, the dial was made was to basically go find help, because Archimedes was trying to find help. And, you know, at the end, you know, Indiana Jones is like, you know, stunned because he's witnessing history and everything, and he just wants to stay. He wants to stay there with Archimedes and just be part of history in some sense. But his goddaughter keeps telling him like, no, you're not gonna stay, and she finally punches him and lets him come back. And thankfully she did that, honestly, because I don't know how it would have felt if they would have left Indiana Jones. And I don't know if this movie really like I feel like in a sense this movie does leave the door open for another Indiana Jones, but I really don't think Harrison Ford can like go for another round if, you know, Indiana Jones. You know, I like this just shows me that like that's it. Like this is definitely the last Indiana Jones movie, and unless they decide to do some type of spin-off and they make someone else. But and one thing I've always loved about the Indiana Jones is like they work, you know, like I've seen Tomb Raider, I've seen the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland. Don't get me wrong, I love the Uncharted games, but the Uncharted movie was just like you know. But Indiana Jones has always just been like those type of movies that I've always liked, you know. But this is my little talk review of Indiana Jones. If I have to give it a rating, I'll give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I don't really like giving ratings, but if anything, that's the way I feel. The reason I feel that way is just I felt like it was a little bit out there, and I felt like the CGI was kind of distracting at the beginning. I thought they were going to use it a little bit less, but they definitely used it. And then they even actually reused it later to make him look not as old, but still old. And it was just like, what? I just thought it was all around funny. But honestly, I enjoyed the film. I do suggest you all go and watch it, especially since it's the last Indiana Jones film, maybe. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed this review. And if you guys did enjoy this review and want to see more reviews, please drop a like on this video, hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, drop a comment in the comment section to let me know what you guys think about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheKevGuy, and subscribe to Culture By and follow Culture By on Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.